The West Hollywood Planning Commission acknowledges that the land on which we gather and that is currently known as the City of West Hollywood is the occupied, unceded, seized territory of the Gabrielino, Tongva, and Gabrielino Kizh peoples. I would like to call to order this regularly scheduled meeting of the Planning Commission. Pledge of Allegiance. I'll lead the Pledge of Allegiance for today. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. David, roll call.
Thank you, and good evening, and welcome back. Tonight, Commissioner Copeland will be absent, so all voting records will reflect that. Commissioner Matos.
Present.
Commissioner Jones.
Here.
Commissioner Gregoire.
Here.
Commissioner Edwards.
Here.
Vice Chair Lombardi.
Present.
Chair Carvalho.
Here.
And we have a quorum.
Thank you. Approval of the agenda. Do we have any changes to tonight's agenda? No? Do I have a motion?
I will move approval.
I'll second.
Great.
A motion by Commissioner Matos, seconded by Commissioner Jones. And the motion passes. The agenda is approved as presented, noting Commissioner Copeland absent.
Thank you. Approval of the minutes from November 16th, 2023. Do I have any corrections to these meeting minutes that we need to take on record? No? Do I have a motion?
Motion.
And a second?
I will second.
Thank you.
Motion by Commissioner Edwards, seconded by Commissioner Matos.
Just to note that I'll be abstaining as I was not present at that meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. And the motion passes to approve the verbatim court transcription minutes of November 16, 2023, noting Commissioner Jones abstaining and Commissioner Copeland absent.
Thank you. Do we have any public comments at this time, David?
We do not. We are clear.
Okay. Director's report.
Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the West Hollywood Planning Commission. Nick Marisich, Director of Community Development, and I do have a couple of items to share with you this evening. Last November, the City Council approved Phase 1 of the Small Business Initiative Implementation Plan, and that included several actions aimed at supporting small businesses in the city. One of these actions was direction to staff to apply broad discretion when interpreting the zoning code to allow similar but unspecified uses that may be permitted to locate within the city's various commercial zoning districts. And we've now completed this director's interpretation and we'll be adding it to the record of interpretations and circulating it for distribution pursuant to the municipal code. So you'll all be receiving a copy of that next week. Additional actions under the Small Business Initiative's implementation plan will continue to advance in the coming months, and I'll be happy to provide continued updates to keep you all apprised of our progress. And then with respect to the City Council, this coming Monday, the City Council will be having a regular meeting on February 5th, and we have a couple of items that I wanted to bring to your attention. One is item 2H. We have prepared the first in a series of quarterly reports that the Council requested on the status of major development projects in the city. And this month we are reporting on 14 such projects, which are in various stages, all of which have either already been acted on by the Planning Commission or will require Planning Commission action in the future. So that is out with the Council agenda, item 2H. And then item 3A is an appeal of the Planning Commission's approval of the project at 8025 Santa Monica Boulevard. So those items are on the agenda for this coming Monday, February 5th. And then also we'll note that at the subsequent City Council meeting on Tuesday, February 20th, the City Council will hold a public hearing on an appeal of the Commission's approval of the project at 910 Weatherly Drive. And that concludes my report for tonight. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? No? No, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. So item 8, consent calendar, we have none. Number 9, public hearing, section 1, projects subject to the Housing Accountability Act. We do not have any tonight. So that brings us to our one public hearing. Item 10A, the Planning Commission has been asked to consider whether a proposed land acquisition is consistent with the general plan for property located at 148 North Swall Drive in West Hollywood. And I understand Antonio Castillo is going to do the staff report. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening. Good evening, Commissioners, Vice Chair. My name is Antonio Castillo, Senior Planner with the Current and Historic Preservation Planning Division. I'm here this evening for this item along with Helen Collins, Manager of the Facilities and Field Services. The item before you this evening is for the Planning Commission to consider to make a finding that the acquisition of the property at 148 North Swall Drive in West Hollywood is consistent with the general plan. I have just a brief presentation here just for illustration purposes. If I can get this to work. There it is. The approximately 6,000 square foot vacant single parcel is located on the east side of Swall Drive, south of Beverly Boulevard, within the R4B-C zoning district, and it has a parking overlay. The purchase of the property is consistent with and would not impede the implementation of the goals and policies of the general plan. And specifically, the acquisition would support the Beverly Boulevard undergrounding and streetscape improvements consistent with goal IRC-1 to provide functional, safe, and well-maintained circulation and public infrastructure throughout the city, with the intent to ensure that the community is provided with well-functioning infrastructure services. With that, it's staff's assessment that the acquisition of the property is consistent with the general plan, and staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt draft resolution number PC 24-1536. So that concludes my brief presentation. Myself and Ms. Collins are here to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. That was brief. Do we have any questions for staff? I don't think we have questions for staff. Okay. Any commissioner?
No, I was just shaking my head.
No, I mean, I'm thinking about it, but.
Okay, commissioner disclosures? Commissioner Matos? No. Commissioner Gregoire? No. 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 Okay. Do we have any public speakers on this item, David?
We do not. We are clear.
Okay. Commissioner deliberation. Do we have any comments? Does somebody have a motion?
I will move approval of the item.
Do we have a second?
I will second.
David?
Moved by Commissioner Matos, seconded by Commissioner Gregoire. And the motion passes, noting Commissioner Copeland absent on this vote. There is no appeal process. This item will be subject to final approval by the City Council.
Thank you, David. Item 11, new business, we have none. And item 12, unfinished business, we have none. 13, excluded consent calendar, no items. Item 14, items from the staff, planning manager's update.
Thank you. We're going to start tonight's planning manager's update by kicking it off with Isaac Rosen, our city attorney's representative here, and he's going to talk a little bit about the teleconference policy and clarify some of the guidelines.
Thank you. Yes, so just very briefly, I think the city had received some questions specifically about the city's teleconference policy and which subcommittees and advisory bodies it applied to. So in the interest of disclosure, we added it to the agenda in case there were specific questions for the city team. It's a council-approved policy, which applies generally. It does list the specific bodies that would hold public hearings that are permitted under that city council policy to have teleconference or remote meetings. And really, my understanding of the intent for the specificity in terms of which bodies it applies to is based in part on just the resources necessary and the training necessary with staff to run a successful teleconference meeting. And so I just wanted to provide that update and make sure, to the extent there were questions from the public, that that policy was made available as part of our Planning Commission agenda.
Okay, moving on from that, we have had a couple of questions, I think, that were brought up in last week's subcommittee meeting about the policy regarding noticing around subcommittees. Currently, there is no requirement for notices of subcommittee meetings. They're meant to be more informal. We are currently looking into the possibility of instituting some sort of notification policy. I don't know quite what that looks like yet, but we'll keep you guys posted for sure. And then similarly, we are looking into how we apply neighborhood meeting requirements in the same vein to make sure that the public is aware as possible about these projects that are coming through. So just wanted to give you guys an update about that because I know it's been, I think most of you have probably heard some of the public comments surrounding that, so we're looking into it. And now I will move, unless there's questions on that, I will move to subcommittee management. Okay, great. All right. Actually, I'll do all of the upcoming agendas, so sorry. So today is February 1st. In 2 weeks, we have our next Planning Commission meeting. We have 2 items on that agenda that are fairly substantial. One is a billboard at 8501 Sunset Boulevard, and the other one is extension request for 8920 Sunset Boulevard. That was the former Arts Club project. This extension request is a little bit different because it includes an ordinance change or an ordinance along with it to extend it past the normal deadlines that are applied in the zoning ordinance. So we will have more information and obviously a staff report and analysis about that when we get closer. On March 7th, that's the next meeting, and we have currently another billboard for 8497 Sunset Boulevard, a multifamily residential project at 1006 to 1010 Edinburgh Avenue, and also a subdivision map for condo subdivision at a multifamily project at 1051 Spalding Avenue. So those will be upcoming on March 7th. And moving out a little bit further, March 21st, we don't yet have any items, but we'll keep you posted. For the Long Range Planning Projects Subcommittee, the next meeting will be February 15th. Actually, there's no items coming up for any of the upcoming agendas. Those are typically held on the same day as Planning Commission, but we don't have any items scheduled. And similarly, we don't have any items scheduled for the upcoming Design Review Subcommittee. The one next week on February 8th has been canceled for lack of items. February 22nd is still open. We'll let you know if anything comes up. And for the Sunset Arts and Advertising Subcommittee, similarly, there's nothing scheduled at this time. So I'm here for any questions.
Do we have any questions for Jennifer? Vice Chair Lombardi.
I just wanted to note, I think I mentioned this to Secretary Gillig a couple of days ago, but there is a subcommittee meeting on the 22nd for design review or SASE. I am unfortunately out of town, just to let you know now.
Thank you. We'll make a note of that.
Any other comments? Nope. Nope. Okay. David, do we have any public comments?
Chair, we do not. We are clear.
Okay, items from the commissioner, number 16. Any commissioner items?
I do have one,
Commissioner
actually.
Jones.
I guess I had hoped to have more of an audience than this because I was waiting to say anything until people were actually here, so this may be the wrong meeting. But I did just want to announce publicly that I am having a baby fairly soon, like probably 6 weeks. So it's been pretty easy to hide. We didn't have a lot of meetings for like 2 months. So in any case, I'm definitely having a child. He will be here. It's a boy. He will be here sometime in March. There's a good chance that my last meeting will be March 7th, but it might be the meeting before that. So I've stayed close to staff and, David and my appointing Councilmember Heilman, and, so that's it, really. I don't know if there's ever been a pregnant person on the commission before, so in any case, I will probably be gone for about 6 weeks. Still TBD. And there's a small chance I may be bringing my child with me to my first meeting back, but we'll see. So I just wanted to let everybody know. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Jones, and congratulations. I'm sure everything will go well. Okay, so then I failed to announce the date of today's meeting, which is it's February 1st today, and we start our meeting at 6:34 p.m. And I'm now adjourning our meeting to our next regularly scheduled Planning Commission meeting on February 15th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. at this location. Thank you.